Yeah, so The Art of Self-Defense is a movie written by Riley Stearns about a kind of wimpy guy who chooses the wrong person to teach him how to man up. And Jesse Eisenberg plays Casey Davies, who is somebody who feels kind of uncomfortable in his own skin and kind of impotent in the world, and decides that he wants to do something about it. And he starts going to this karate dojo that's run by a guy referred to as Sensei, which is the role that I play in it. Sensei is a kind of charismatic, mysterious, and seductive teacher who appears at first to be the answer to Casey's dreams and proves slowly over the course of the film to be totally unhinged. And the movie, is a kind of satire about our notions of how to be a man. Yeah, I mean, I think the character is probably somebody who was like Casey and had been, a bit of a loser, really, and kind of a lonely, lost soul who found this one arena where he could kind of lord it over everybody and, feel empowered. What's great about the character is that he's both frightening, cunning, but also idiotic and spouting all kinds of BS philosophy. and and so the writer director Riley has is constantly shifting that tone back and forth between something that's really frightening and something that's just absurd. Well, I based the character my son, when he was little. I mean, he's now 15, but when he was a little kid, 7 years old or something, was taking some Hapkido class in Brooklyn, and the guy who was who ran that dojo was definitely one of these times. I mean, he wasn't a sociopathic murderer or anything, but he was, the lord of he'd set himself up as the lord of a very small manor. And, and he, had all these little kids in his thrall and kind of talked to them in this like super intense and kind of, hushed toned voice. And I just used him as my inspiration for the role. We just got along instantly. We'd never met before. He's incredibly bright and kind of, has a very original and quick wit. He is, he's very politically active. I mean, he was a fascinating guy to be around and to talk to. And so from the very start, we kind of hit it off. And then, I don't know, I think we just both really enjoyed the fact that that our characters were so mismatched, and that we were this kind of unlikely pairing, sort of comedy duo. And the scenes between us are so well written, especially the scenes in my office where I'm signing him up for the classes. And then, we have a series of scenes in my office, which we shot over just a couple of days. And I think those were the most enjoyable scenes of the movie to shoot. I definitely had no martial arts training at all. And in fact, I was offered this job really late in the process, in the casting process. I think somebody probably dropped out, and I got the call, but I was off doing another movie in Namibia. And I had like a week I was to go on that film, and then I was going to just literally fly from there straight to Louisville, Kentucky, where we shot it, and get started. And I had just no time to prepare, and I really had to hit the ground running the first day of filming. I speechify throughout the whole movie, and I speak in these long, drawn out sentences and monologues, and So it was a huge volume of text that I had to learn. And then on top of it, the very first day, I think there are two kind of physical routines that I had to do in the movie. One was like a little fight with Jesse, and then the other one was the introduction to my character, where somebody in the dojo, one of my students asked me a question, and I have to do this karate routine while also talking about, like, what my daily routine is of, like, going to the market and, watching a home video or whatever. And it all has to be coordinated together with these moves. And I had like 48 hours, I think, to try and pull it together. I showed up in my hotel room and I just like dropped my bags, and there was a knock at the door, and I opened the door, and the stunt coordinator was standing there, this like amazing woman named Mindy, who just like pushed me out of the way and came storming into my room. And next thing I knew, I was like, doing these like high leg kicks, and yeah, she whipped me into shape. I guess my favorite scene is that first scene in the office where Jesse, has come to officially sign up, and I'm entering him into the computer, and I start asking all of these questions about him and his life and his reasons for wanting to be in karate. And it was just such a kind of, we just had a lot of fun with it. And the way that that sensei is so kind of opaque and difficult to read, and the dialogue is hilarious, and it just sets the tone for the movie.